Hello and welcome everyone. This is Chris from England with a new Learn English video for the Learn English as Easy as Pie Facebook page. Thanks to Mojtaba Yagubi for sharing this. Today I want to do a bit of reading practice because I was surfing on the internet on the BBC website in the UK and I found a very interesting article titled Learn English Online, How the Internet is Changing Language. So this article talks mainly about English, but it also discusses the implications of the internet for all other languages. It is relevant to everyone, but especially all of us as we're learning English together. So this video is going to be very straightforward. I'm going to read this article. So you can read with me. I've put the link to it at the top of the YouTube description or on Facebook as well. So if you want to read with me, please click on that and we can get started. Okay, everyone ready? So I'm simply going to read through the main text of Learn English Online, How the Internet is Changing Language by Jane O'Brien for the BBC News magazine. Online, English has become a common language for users from around the world. In the process, the language itself is changing. When America emerged from the ashes of a bruising war with Britain in 1814, the nation was far from united. Noah Webster thought that a common language would bring people together and help create a new identity that would make the country truly independent of the British. Webster's dictionary, now in its 11th edition, adopted the Americanized spellings familiar today, ER instead of RE in theatre, dropping the U from colour and losing the double I from words such as traveller. That's a double L, sorry. It also documented new words that were uniquely American, such as skunk, opossum, hickory, squash, and chowder. An American dictionary of the English language took 18 years to complete, and Webster learned 26 other languages in order to research the etymology of its 70,000 entries. The internet is creating a similar language evolution, but at a much faster pace. There are now thought to be some 4.5 billion web pages worldwide, and with half the population of China now online, many of them are written in Chinese. Still, some linguists predict that within 10 years English will dominate the internet, but in forms very different to what we accept and recognise as English today. That's because people who speak English as a second language already outnumber native speakers, and increasingly they use it to communicate with non-native speakers, particularly on the internet where less attention is paid to grammar and spelling and users don't have to worry about their accent. The internet enfranchises people who are not native speakers to use English in significant and meaningful ways, says Naomi Barron, Professor of Linguistics at American University in Washington, D.C. Users of Facebook already socialize in a number of different Englishes, including Indian English or Hinglish, Spanglish, and Konglish. While these variations have long existed within individual cultures, they're now expanding and commingling online. On the internet, all that matters is that people can communicate. Nobody has a right to tell them what the language should be. If you can talk Facebook into putting up pages, you have a language that has political and social standing, even if it doesn't have much in the way of linguistic uniqueness. Some words are adaptations of traditional English. In Singlish or Singaporean English, blur means confused or slow. She came into the conversation late and was blur as a result. Others combine English to make something new. In Konglish, skinship means intimate physical contact, hand-holding, touching, caressing. Technology companies are tapping into the new English variations with products aimed at enabling users to add words that are not already in the English dictionary. And most large companies have English websites, while smaller businesses are learning that they need a common language, English, to reach global customers. While most people don't speak English as their first language, there is a special commercial and social role for English driven by modern forms of entertainment, says Robert Monroe, a computational linguist and head of IDIBON a language technology company in California. The prevalence of English movies in regions where there is not much technology other than cell phones and DVDs makes English an aspirational language. People think it's the language of the digital age. In previous centuries, the convergence of cultures and trade led to the emergence of Pidgin, a streamlined system of communication that has simple grammatical structure, says Michael Ullman, Director of Research at Georgetown University's Brain and Language Lab. When the next generation of Pidgin speakers begins to add vocabulary and grammar, it becomes a distinct Creole language. You get different endings, it's more complex and systematized. Something like that could be happening to English on the web, he says. Take Hinglish, for example. Hinglish is a blend of Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu and English, and is so widespread that it's even being taught to British diplomats. Mobile phone companies are also updating their apps to reflect its growing use. In Hinglish, a co-brother is a brother-in-law. Eve-teasing means sexual harassment. An emergency crew responding to a crisis might be described as air dashing. And somewhat confusing to football fans, a stadium refers to a bald man with a fringe of hair. There's even a new concept of time, prepone, the opposite of postpone, meaning to bring something forward. The increasing prevalence of the internet in everyday life means that language online is not a zero-sum game. Instead, it allows multiple languages to flourish. Most people actually speak multiple languages. It's less common to only speak one, says Mr. Monroe. English has taken its place as the world's lingua franca, main language, but it's not pushing out other languages. Instead, other languages are pushing their way into English, and in the process creating something new. To the right of that article there are two other text boxes. I'm going to read through the second one, the lower one, as we have time, titled Fragile Languages Find Footing Online. UNESCO estimates that half of the world's 6,000 languages will have disappeared by the end of the century, but new research shows that social media and text messaging in particular are promoting and supporting language diversity. Texting is now conducted by speakers of around 5,000 languages. Text messaging is the most linguistically diverse form of written communication that has ever existed, says Monroe. It's also become the first form of written communication of many of the world's languages, he says. Most have only ever been spoken, but the technology and economics of text messages and the proliferation of cell phones means it's the most economic option of communication. That is the last thing I'm going to read. So I have gone through the entirety of Learn English Online, How the Internet is Changing Language by the BBC. I hope that you learned something from that. I wanted to read it because I thought it was very useful to learn more about English and other languages and how things are changing with the internet, which affects all of us, I think, because we are using English online. I have summarized some key points that I gathered from that article. There are 10. They are in the description, so you can read those, but hopefully if you read it with me, then you were able to learn from it anyway and get your own learning points from that. But thank you for reading that, and I hope that it was useful for you. I certainly thought it was an excellent article to read about language. So that is all for today. Thanks to Learn English as Easy as Pie on Facebook for sharing this, and cheers to Mojtaba Yagubi. As always, guys, you're doing a great job, so please keep it up. We're learning a lot of English with you, and I'm sure everyone will keep checking that page. Please feel free to look at my British English websites. I've put the links in the YouTube description. You can join us on YouTube for more free videos. Also Facebook, Twitter, WordPress and Tumblr. And I'm setting up a Skype account, so feel free to add me on there and we might be in communication like that in the near future. So that's all for now, but I'll be back soon with more free videos, so please keep checking. Good luck with your English. Please keep studying hard. Take care, and I will see you next time.